Hello, everybody. Welcome to 2025. If you're listening to this, it means you've made it through another year. Congratulations for being here. Be thankful that you are one of the very blessed to walk into another new year. I won't take up much of your time for this episode. And if you're listening to this, thank you for being here with me, for listening to my podcast once again and extending your support as one of my listeners. I thank God and my family, and the biggest shout out goes to my daughter Caitlin. You are my reason. This podcast is for you. You're listening to Worthy with SHIRLYN Gray. So, where do I begin? My last episode recording was done in April last year, and so much has happened since then. I think I've lived multiple lives in 1 year. And why the name change this year? Well, I think with Brighter, I was living out the need to be seen and heard within my circumstance. And although that did come with challenges of its own, I've never been more proud of myself. Like, whenever I need to do something difficult that requires a large amount of physical strength, I always say to myself, there's no man here. What are you going to do? And I'll turn that lid as hard as I can and fail. But I'll always say to myself, there's no man here. What are you going to do? And then I'll fry some chips instead. The point is, there's always another way if you can only change your perspective. This time around, it's called Worthy. And this is because I know that I can. I know that I am worth dignity and honesty and choice. And I'd like to share that with others. I must say I'm really excited once again. I'm excited to see if I can perhaps become better at something that I never thought I could even attempt doing. So, what happened last year? It's possible that no one cares, but I'm going to pretend like you do and tell you anyway. It's just a pity I can't give the details because it's very interesting. So anyway, last year, the biggest thing that happened that sort of set the tone for the rest of my year was that I lost my home, mine and my daughter's home. It wasn't a purchase, but it was the only home that my daughter had consistent memories in. We lived there for 3 years and had a wonderful landlord, but things just simply had to change. And it was a really, really difficult thing to do. In fact, telling my daughter that we had to leave home was the hardest part of all. She begged for us to stay, and I told her we would, but eventually that just wasn't possible any longer. In the first few months, there was a lot of up and down, and life was a real challenge for us. I did think that I would find something sooner than later, but employment had other things in mind, like giving me space, so I did as much marketing for my business as I possibly could and put focus on freelance income, which included recording my podcast in lounges, bedrooms, outside, and hotels that I wasn't even staying at. Eventually, it was just too much to stay on top of everything, and my main priority was getting my daughter through everything. It was rough here, I can't lie, but it didn't stop my passion to help other women share their stories of triumph. In fact, I met so many women with stories very, very similar to mine, and some had even endured much more than I did. It was tough, but I kept going, and I focused on developing myself in as many areas of my life that I possibly could. I can't say that I was without hope. Hope was the very reason I made it through. God and hope at the center of my life. I had more reason than I could count to see my life as something in disparage, but I also saw so profoundly the hand of God moving to my aid many, many times. I remember wondering one evening where I was going to go and what would happen when I had to leave my home. And the very next night, having a new, clean, warm place to live, with every provision and every luxury provided, and my daughter giggling on the bed beside me. In moments like that, it isn't possible to overlook the blessing in your circumstances. And yes, there is a complex story behind why a decent and capable woman finds herself in such dire circumstances. But the story that matters the most is that the only way out is up. Get up and try again, and again, and again. Just get up. No matter how you feel, start with that. Eventually, prayer and hard work paid off, and I secured permanent employment and a new place to live, which I all attribute mostly to the grace of God. If you look around on your social media, it doesn't take very long before you see some sorts of suffering around the world, and sadly, it's mostly children. I look around at my life and there are constant reminders that no matter how difficult things are, I'm still one of the blessed to have a home for my daughter and I and food to eat. There is a mandate on those who can to help those who can't. Whatever I can give, whatever little God can use of me to make a difference in this world, my hope is that this podcast will be one of them. Thank you for being here. Until next time, this is Worthy with SHIRLYN GRAY.